Hey guys, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Black Lightning Season 3 review series, and today I am going to be talking about Episode 10, Blessings and Curses Reborn, the Book of Markovia, Chapter 1, and this episode is pretty much the post-crisis of the crossover event where we saw Jefferson at the end of episode 9 was breached out of his world to join the other heroes of the Arrowverse to save the multiverse, and as we saw at the end of part 5 of the crossover event, all of the Earths are now fused together as one single universe called Earth Prime. So that means The Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Batwoman and Black Lightning, all of the shows are now under one roof, and this marks officially that Black Lightning is now part of the Arrowverse, and he played quite a big important role in parts 3 and 5 of the crossover event after months and months of everyone telling us that Black Lightning is not part of the Arrowverse and his show is completely separate to those shows. But it was really good to see Black Lightning getting to mix it up with all of the other heroes of the Arrowverse, and it looks like to me, going by the end of part 5, it looks like to me that Black Lightning is now officially a full-time member of what appears to be the Arrowverse's Justice League, with the Flash, White Canary, Superman, Supergirl, Batwoman and J'onn J'onzz. Time will tell what will happen with this new team, but I'm very happy to say that Black Lightning is now officially part of the Arrowverse. So, with a new universe and a new timeline, do things remain the same or are they different? I would probably say they're not much different. Now, this episode pretty much picks up where we left off from last time. New universe, new Earth, but still the same old problems. So we see Jefferson return to Freeland, and obviously he's got the full memories of the old Earth thanks to J'onn J'onzz, and he's got his family back, but he's still having to deal with the ASA and the threat of the Markovians. So everything is old but new, so to speak, but nothing much has really changed, except now, as I said, that all of the heroes are now under one roof. So this episode pretty much picks up where we left off at the end of episode 9, but everything is now back to how it should be, and this was a really good episode, and we pretty much see Black Lightning and Blackbird working together with the Resistance to try and stop the ASA and the threat of the Markovians. But I would say this was a really good episode. I really enjoyed this one a lot. So, with that all said, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about Episode 10, Blessings and Curses Reborn, the Book of Markovia, Chapter 1. So this episode opens up with Black Lightning returning to Freeland and trying to reach Gambi on the comms, explaining that he has gone to another dimension and he's fanboying at the fact that Superman is actually real. Yeah, for those of you who probably know that reference, Black Lightning saw two versions of Superman and his reaction was, oh wow, the Superman thing is actually real? Damn! So that's pretty much a reference of that. Gambi doesn't respond, and then we catch up with Jennifer, who is trapped in her safe space, or some white space. She swears that she can make it back and she will stop Odell and not become the evil version of herself that she saw. She then makes it back to reality around the same time as her father does, and they go looking for the rest of the family. Now, for those of you who are wondering why he's looking for the rest of his family, at the end of the last episode, just before it finished, we saw Gambi and all of Jefferson's family get wiped out by the anti-wave matter during the crisis, so he's pretty much on a mission to look for his family to make sure that they're okay. They go find Gambi and Jefferson fills them in, albeit very briefly, about the events of the crisis. They both also have antimatter particles confirming their stories. Jen really wants to just kill Agent Odell. Anissa as Blackbird is about to be ambushed in the tunnels by the ASA. Jen goes to find Lynn. Meanwhile, at the ASA, Odell is briefed and they have some major hurdles to get through. At the college's lab, Jennifer finds her mother in withdrawal and discovers her addiction to the green light. Now, as we've seen over the course of Season 3, Lynn has been taking a lot of green light, which is able to boost her intelligence, but at a very heavy price. So we are now seeing that Lynn is having to exist on green light to get her work done, but she develops a terrible addiction to it. So I like the way they handled the use of substance abuse and drugs in this episode. Meanwhile, in the tunnels, Blackbird faces off with the ASA forces. She fights and quickly makes work of most of them, with Black Lightning arriving at the right time. Back at the ASA, they continue to struggle with stabilising the pod kids, and the ASA is willing to let 20% of them die. TC has left his radio station and lets himself into Gamby's workshop and interfaces with the technology in the shop to let himself into the secret Black Lightning lair. Gamby busts him after finding out that he's a dead man. Meanwhile, we see Lynn trying to talk her way out of things with Jennifer as they start to experience an impossible earthquake. Brandon finds the cure, but Lynn stays behind rather than go with Jen to give it to him. She's still fixated and focused on her green lights. In the tunnel, Black Lightning and Blackbird also experience the earthquake, and Blackbird suspects the ASA is taking the kids to the pit. Black Lightning checks in with Jen. She says she's going to stop the earthquakes and tells Black Lightning he needs to check in on her mum. Jen finds Brandon and administers the cure and is able to stop the earthquakes in the process. Black Lightning goes looking for Lynn, but she's not in her lab. He sees the mess on the floor and realises what it is. I'm glad that it's only a matter of time before everyone found out about the green light addiction, because you can clearly see that things are not what they seem with Lynn. Gamby and TC talk with TC, worried that the ASA will find him and put him back in a pod. He has an anxiety attack and Gamby talks him through it. Gamby also lets TC stay in the apartment above the shop, and meanwhile at the Pierce home, Lynn is ransacking things looking for a dose of her green light when Jefferson finds her and confronts her after she locks herself in the bathroom. Now this was a very good scene. This was very emotional, but you could also feel the pain in the dialogue between these two, and this was probably one of the best scenes, if not the best scene of this episode so far. In the altercation, Lynn strikes Jefferson, Henderson calls then, and Black Lightning is needed. The ASA then orders that someone bring in Jennifer, though the person who is supposed to help bring him in is surprisingly fully recovered from a surgery. He has a control chip, and now the ASA wants to get one into Jennifer too. The Resistance makes their plan, with Blackbird wanting to talk to Black Lightning privately first, upset he's trying to run things. Blackbird wants to be in charge and just wants his support. Meanwhile, at Gamby's, TC finds an arsenal as well as the older Black Lightning and Thunder suits. TC also reveals that he can find out who killed Gamby. Odell keeps calling Jennifer. She and Brandon chat when they are both tranquilized. Blackbird takes control of the Resistance mission, while Brandon and Jen are both driven away by the ASA. They wake up and have inhibitor collars on. The driver, though, recognises that something is wrong with the soldier with him. Jen focuses all of her energy, is able to get herself and Brandon out of their collars just as the driver discovers the chip. Jen and Brandon attack some ASA agents, and the one with the chip moves to kill Jen, but since she's now pure energy, he gets nowhere. The Superior Office attacks him while Jennifer and Brandon flee. The Resistant mission has begun, and there's a firefight between the ASA and the police. Black Lightning helps deal with that, while Blackbird deals with the ASA inside and rescues all of the kids. The kids are saved on the ASA. Blackbird and Black Lightning chat a bit, with Jefferson expressing pride. At Gamby's, TC pushes himself to the limits to find out who was trying to kill Gamby, and he does, and it turns out to be none other than Lady Eve, though he collapses as he is too unstable. Gambi says he can get him help, and the last scene we see is Jennifer confronts Odell, but it turns out to be a hologram, with the hologram Odell telling her that this is not over, and that pretty much ends episode 10. Very good episode, and a good strong start to the post-crisis of Black Lightning. I really enjoyed this episode a lot, and it was really cool to see Black Lightning have all of the memories of the crisis event, and he's filling in on his family and Gambi on all the events that took place and the role that he played. So this was a very good episode. I really enjoyed this a lot, and we are back in business with Black Lightning and stronger than ever. And as I said, this doesn't really change a lot other than the fact that it's a new Earth, but they still have the same situations that they have to deal with before the crisis happened. So this was a much welcomed return, and this was a very good episode, and I'm wondering how they're going to deal with Lynn's green light addiction problems. So I'm going to wrap this up now. What did you think of episode 10? Did you think it was a great strong start to the post-crisis of the Arrowverse? And what were your thoughts on Jefferson finally learning the truth about Lynn's addiction to the green light? Do you think he'll be able to help her? And what did Agent Odell mean by "this is far from over"? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will be back next time for another edition of the Black Lightning Season 3 review series, where I'll be talking about episode 11, and again I am very much looking forward to talking about that. So until next time, take care everybody and stay safe. And one final thing I want to quickly say, it's really good to have Black Lightning a part of the Arrowverse, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they will use him in the forthcoming future.